Hey Kit, how are you, man?
Good man, nice. Is it mustache or is it a beard? I can't see.
It's kind of like it goes down, so it's kind of that handlebar mustache.
Awesome. I love it.
Thank you, sir. I like yours. You look great.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I want to start with, you're jumping into something that a lot of actors going into the Marvelverse would be a little intimidating because there's so many questions asked about with the future. You're kind of used to that already with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I look, I kind of you sometimes figure out these things by doing junkets and talking about them. But I guess what I figured out today is that I spent almost 9 years at school preparing for this with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a school to prepare to go and promote a Marvel movie, that would be it. So I am used to it, but it doesn't make it any more intimidating, any
I'm
less
sure.
intimidating.
How did you get involved? What was the audition process like, or did you just kind of step in because you're kind of Kit Harington? You're awesome.
It was more of a step in, and it was
Hmm.
towards the end of, I was a late addition to this cast, and they realized there was an opportunity with the character here um to create Dane Whitman, the character, and so they came to me and asked me whether I considered coming in and doing it, and the answer I gave was yes, because it's Marvel and because the character's cool and I liked the role I had in this movie, and the cast already was pretty phenomenal. So yeah, it was a simple choice for me.
Now, how much were you aware? Like, obviously, in comic book lore, Dane Whitman is a big deal. It's where he goes with his story arc, and obviously, we're kind of starting off with this character. We don't know a lot about him in this film. What was your kind of when you read the script? What were you thinking, and how do you know? Like, have you thought about how far you're going to go with this, and how many movies this could turn into?
I mean, you do have I had an awareness coming in that hopefully there'd be a future and a trajectory, and that's something very roughly spoke about, but because I didn't want it just to be this movie, I wanted
Yeah,
it to be a starting off point. But then you cut all of that and you just get to this movie and you concentrate on, what am I doing in this movie? What's my role in this movie? Who am I in this movie? Because looking into the future too much is A, hazardous, and B, can drive one mad, and C, foolish. It just is not worth living beyond the movie you're in.
for sure. One of the things I really liked about your involvement and your relationship with Gemma is the kind of naturalness of it. It was very sweet and very fun to watch. How was it working with her and kind of finding that kind of chemistry that you guys have?
Yeah, we had a sometimes a really tough job, uh, is establishing a relationship with a very short number of scenes, and
Hmm.
having the audience believe that you have been together for a while, that you are a relationship. Um, so that it really helped that me and Gemma knew each other prior and we were friends. It helped that I filmed all my stuff right at the end of the movie when Gemma had done the bulk of her work.
Oh,
Um, and it was my job just to come in and sort of, create a kind of an atmosphere, I guess, with her and along with her, where you sort of just quickly believe that these two had a shorthand and knew each other. And I think we did that.
for sure. Now, one of the things I really appreciate is when Marvel takes a director like Chloe and gives them the opportunity, especially coming after Nomadland, which is a phenomenal film. How was it working with Chloe and finding that even though these short scenes are very important to the future of the Eternals, what was it like working with Chloe and finding the right feel to it?
Yeah, look, the mark of a good director is someone who gives equal weight to everyone on set. Be that crew, be that cast, everyone. That the leader of a team, and she was brilliant with me in that she gave me the time and space around the character I had, and really dedicated herself as much to those end 2 weeks as she had to the rest of the movie. I saw that from my early conversations with her, that she wanted to shoot this as an intimate movie, but with a Marvel budget. That
Mm,
she wasn't going to betray her where she came from as a filmmaker, like all the great Marvel filmmakers have done. Like
mm.
they bring the essence of what they have to their movies, and I think it's very much what she's done with this one.
What do you? I mean, having come from such a, obviously people love you as a Jon Snow, and Game of Thrones is, it was remarkable in the impact it had on not only television, I think film as well. How much of that have you learned? You said it was like school. How much have you taken with you, and what are some of the most important things you learned from that experience?
God, I learned so much from Game of Thrones. It was my 20s, it was all of my 20s and even my early 30s. And in that way, it did feel like a schooling in camera work. It felt like a schooling in how different directors work, because you got to work with so many. Um, it felt above anything like a schooling in, like, I now feel like, I think I have this wonderful, brilliant position where I've done Game of Thrones. If other stuff doesn't work out, I did the thing. Like, I'm happy. I did the thing. I feel very content now as an actor and as a person. I'm not striving so hard for something that the end of the world if it doesn't work. I mean, I've achieved something that I'm always going to be proud of. And if my career died tomorrow, I'd always have that.
That's a really positive way to look at it, because you see a lot of people kind of, I don't know, kind of dismiss what made them famous and what made them a star. And far from that. I think that's kind of refreshing.
It's a process. Like, I think I was pretty ready to dismiss it just after we'd finished. Like, we're like 2 years after it, and I've processed what that job meant to me, and I'm very grateful for it, and I genuinely have a lot of warmth in my heart for it now. But as people, as some of the actors who've come before me in the Marvel universe, no doubt will attest to, is it can be, being part of something like this can be all consuming, and can put blinkers on you, and you have to be careful around that.
Have you thought of any like storylines that throughout the years, have you followed the career this character in any way and gone through the comics and gone like, ah, yeah, I want to do that?
I've been careful not to since I was first offered the part.
Hmm.
Of course you're going to go and Google the name and see and do some reading up on, and it's sort of in your actor's instinct to go and research who the person is you're playing. But then you have to realize that you're not playing that guy.
Yeah.
Yet. Anyway, you're playing this guy in this movie, and you have to just focus in on that, and that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's also tricky too, because there's so many, even there was some leaks, people get so excited. It must be hard to keep that secret, but again, you already learned to do that, you know.
Yeah. You just don't go on the internet.
That's good advice.
You don't. I'm very clear with myself that I don't want social media, that I'm not on social media, because I think for me it's too, as an actor in something like this, or in Thrones, it's just too much. It's too much information thrown at you. It's too much temptation.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's a pleasure talking to you again. You're a great guy. I always love talking to you.
Thank you, man. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, brother. See you.
Bye.